Welcome back to Nightmare Narratives, where we discuss horror films ranging from the classics to the more obscure style independent ones. I am your host, Brian McCauley, and let's get started on today's review, which is the 1978 classic directed by John Carpenter, Halloween, which is probably one of the most prolific slasher films that was ever put on celluloid. After the death of his sister at his own hands, the killer Michael Myers decides he wants to break out of the institute where he has been for the last 15 years and go back to Haddonfield and wreak more havoc on Halloween night once again. This is probably one of the most prolific films that was ever put on celluloid. John Carpenter directed a complete masterpiece of a film. And not just directing it, he also wrote and did the score for this film, which is probably one of the most iconic scores that you're ever going to see in film history. My personal insight to this movie is that it was a well-made film. John Carpenter, like I said, John Carpenter's direction and his shots and cinematography in this film are top-notch. Jamie Lee Curtis plays one of the most iconic horror characters of Jamie Strode. And another thing that makes this film stand out is the character of Michael Myers, who is as sort of a boogeyman, so to speak. And the way he comes through in and out shots, and just having his presence in the background and the heavy breathing when he's not on screen are fantastic. This film, like I said, is one of the best horror films that was ever made. Do I recommend this film? Yes, I do. If you're a horror fan, this film will bring you great joy upon your first viewing or your 100th, as I have seen that film many of times. And now, what I like to do is tell a few fun facts about this film. Is that this film, along with, shares a sort of link with the movie Psycho. The film starred Jamie Lee Curtis in her film debut, and her mother was also in the film Psycho, and her name is Janet Leigh. And the character Sam Loomis, that's in this Halloween, also shares the name of the character that was in Psycho, another Sam Loomis, which is also a fun fact. Now, another fun fact is that John Carpenter wanted to do this film as he loved Black Christmas, and he asked the director, Bob Clark, who directed that, was he going to do another one? And Bob Clark said no. So the opening POV shot in this film is a love letter to Black Christmas. Another fun fact is the mask that is used by Michael Myers is a William Shatner mask, but due to concept, some people don't understand is it is not a Captain Kirk mask. It is actually a 1975 horror film that William Shatner did called The Devil's Rain. It was found at a drugstore, and what they did is they spray painted it white and changed the hair on it. And the last fun fact about this film is that the role of Sam Loomis originally was intended for horror icon Peter Cushing, but due to a year prior, he was cast in Star Wars, which blew up the box office and made his prices go up, which Carpenter could not afford at the time. The second choice for the character of Dr. Sam Loomis was Christopher Lee, another horror icon, and Christopher Lee turned it down, and which he later regretted, but he's made a name for himself in other films, so I'm sure he wasn't crying his sleep at night. So the third time casting was a charm. Donald Pleasence, in this role of Sam Loomis, I think made the character. I mean, there was a remake, and Malcolm McDowell did a decent job, but this character Donald Pleasance just nailed it. So let's get a topic of discussion of what you like of this movie. Comment below. Let's have a discussion about this film. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in to Nightmare Narratives. Appreciate your viewing, and you have yourself a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Happy New Year.